Bro, what up? We're gonna kick it here on Speak for Yourself with Marcellus Wiley and Emmanuel Aiko, covering about the LeBron James Los Angeles Lakers team and a potential next season of 2021 if they can repeat to bring home the 18th championship all time, and pretty much that would leap them over the Boston Celtics, and the Los Angeles Lakers would have the number one, the most amount of NBA championships all time for one franchise. Like I stated before in my couple videos, I've always had the 2020 Lakers winning the championship, while everyone was always riding the Clippers or the Bucks. So everything's all good with the Lakers winning the first chip here. Now, I've always stated, I'm not going to go too deep into it because I'm not 100% sure, but I would not be surprised, and I've had my eye on this, that the Lakers could possibly three-peat, not just repeat, but three-peat. I'm going to take it step by step. I kind of want to see how free agency plays out and potential trades. In the Western Conference, the Lakers got to be automatic favorites. You do have the Golden State Warriors you got to keep your eye on. You do have Steph Curry coming back with Clay and Dre, the same core foundation that made it to the finals and won the NBA championship in 2015. That same core foundation is coming back as strong as ever. And I believe ever since they brought in Andrew Wiggins and they're going to have cap space in the second pick in the draft, they can either make a big move for a big free agent, they can either make a move for a trade, let alone they can just wait till 2021 for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, it looks like the case is going to be is they're going to wait for Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're going to play the season with just Clay, Dre, and Steph as the core three with role players and Andrew Wiggins. There has been rumors of them stating they want to trade the second pick. I doubt that I'll actually go through. I think they'll keep, and they'll probably draft an Obi Toppin, a forward on their team, to keep things young, cap flexibility, and then try to bring in Giannis in 2021 or another small forward free agent on their team and franchise. You do have the Los Angeles Clippers as well as the Denver Nuggets, and the rest of the Western Conference is stacked as usual. But we've always known, or at least I have always known, the top tiers in the West have always been the Lakers and the Clippers. But now coming into this season, you have to add the Warriors back in the equation. I will give the benefit of the doubt the Denver Nuggets. They're kind of a bubble team, either being tier 1 or tier 2. I like them more to a tier 2. And you're probably wondering, why do I have the Clippers over the Denver Nuggets? Listen, the Nuggets being the Los Angeles Clippers in the playoff series, that was a one-time thing. I'm not being a hater. I'm not being pity. Kudos to the young cats, but the Clippers just imploded. That should have never happened. But the Denver Nuggets, I love their direction and future of Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Jokic. Those young cats are around 23 to 25 years of age. They have a great core foundation, and I'm going to root for the Nuggets, of course. But basically in the West, if you're the Lakers, you only got to keep your eye on the Golden State Warriors, and of course you still got to give respect to the Clippers. They got the talent out there, but it's just mostly the Warriors. So based on that, I foresee the Lakers to make it back in the finals, and the NBA's done, shaming LeBron James losing after a year again. He's now in the mode in the season of his career to where the NBA is paying him back, to where LeBron James will start winning championships. And yes, I think LeBron James will reach 6 NBA championships to win all time. I believe the three-peat's in play, but I'm not going to jump the gun. I'm going to take it step by step, and we can go along with it here. So let's jump in and see what they say about a potential repeat.
Tell us what it sounds like is it's the Lakers or the field. That is a question.
There you go. You know I know swell.
Or the field.
Know swell.
Give me the Lakers.
Over the field?
Give me the Lakers over the
29.
Yes, but here is why, sir. Marcellus, what we have learned about LeBron James, what we've learned about the last decade, even though it's been a very tumultuous year, what we learned about the last decade is this.
What?
If LeBron James is healthy, there's a 100% chance that he will get to the finals. That's what we've learned.
100%.
If LeBron James, if we want to factor in injury, then there's still just, I don't know, a 90% chance that LeBron James will get to the finals. If he's healthy, it's 100%. If we want to factor in injury, there's a 90% chance that he'll get to the finals. Either way, there's somewhere between a 90 to 100% chance, statistically speaking, based on our 10-year, 10-example sample size that LeBron.
Listen, LeBron James has been going through the ritual of shaming for the past couple of seasons, and we've seen the chaos and anarchy and toxicity when it came to the end tenure of the Cleveland Cavaliers, him losing in the finals to Kevin Durant, getting swept, missing the playoffs. The first year with the Lakers was toxicity and anarchy and stress, and TV pundits were throwing all the shade and everything at LeBron James. He's now in the tenure of his career with the Los Angeles Lakers, bringing Anthony Davis. Things are turning around. All you guys out there were picking the Clippers or Bucks to win the chip in 2020. You guys were blinded. I've been saying the Lakers would win the championship. It's all part of the process here. And even when Rajon Rondo was hurt and Avery Bradley wasn't even going to be in the bubble and they signed J.R. Smith, people were super confident that the Lakers would definitely not win the championship and definitely would be the Clippers. They couldn't just fathom. They couldn't actually envision and logically think that the Lakers somehow could beat the Clippers. They couldn't think it's possible. That's how they get you in the moment. That didn't faze me. I've always had the Lakers. Basically what I'm saying is, out of all the GOATs and the best players all time in the history rankings, you have Magic, you got Michael Jordan, you got Bill Russell, Kareem, Shaq, etc., etc. Most of those players have three-peated. Bill Russell has three-peated. Michael Jordan has three-peated. Kobe, Shaq. If you're LeBron James and they're trying to push him to be the GOAT, you're going to need to have him to three-peat for a team and a franchise. And this is the most ideal. You have Anthony Davis, who's 26, 27 years of age, coming in, who won a championship, who's progressing, not even his peak yet. LeBron James has now switched to a point guard position. That means he can have the ball still in his hands. As usual, his ball usage will be up. He has the most amount of assists last season with 11. He led the league. And he can dominate offensively when he picks or chooses. He's in an ideal situation. This 2021 Lakers team is going to resemble a lot like the 2013 Miami Heat. When LeBron just won the championship, he's going to be at his peak. He's going to be feeling very good. There's going to be no more bubble. They're going to be playing back on the road, back with fans. And with that type of energy and flex, LeBron James is going to dominate next season. The only team on his way is the Golden State Warriors. But the thing is, LeBron's always had a Dwayne Wade or Kyrie, a second option who's usually 6'3" or below. His second option is 7 feet, who's an offensive scoring dynamite and defensively will take you down. The Lakers have the size against the Golden State Warriors. I don't see any problems whatsoever that the Warriors would beat the Lakers in the playoffs. It's not going to happen. LA's got the West on lock. I expect them to go for a big move, for a big three. Now, I expect either Bradley Beal or Chris Paul. I doubt Victor Oladipo. I think it's either Bradley Beal or Chris Paul. If they get that to go down, their cap space is very thin. They'll get veteran minimum type players to either re-sign, let alone join that team. And those Lakers teams would be electric. That's going to be one of the greatest teams, not of all time, but it's going to be one of those teams up there in history if they can pull off that core three. That would probably be LeBron James' best team of all time. Not going to jump the gun on that. If they pretty much keep their same team as it is, and I don't expect that whatsoever, they're not going to win the championship. That team in 2020 was pretty much like a championship or bust, one and done, because you have Rondo, you got Dwight, some of these players alongside like that. Now that they won a championship, some of those cats are a little older. They don't have that extra motivation. So you got to retool if you're the Lakers, which I expect, and they will do so. Don't be shocked.
James will get to the finals. So we're just going to assume that he'll be there.
He'll be there.
Let's make that.
You want to make that assumption.
That's a safe assumption.
Is it safe?
It's a statistically safe assumption.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and put him there. Well, now, if he's there, then the very simple question is, Who is he there against? I'm not going to do this on my first lap. On my first lap, all I'm going to say is this.
Oh, we say this
Statistically speaking, we know that LeBron is going to be there. It's not your opinion. It's not my opinion. It's the last decade based upon facts, empirical data, statistical evidence. But the other thing I'll say is this. Why do I trust LeBron to win it when he gets there? Because he's smarter than everyone else.
Higher basketball IQ.
You got to realize LeBron was always in the East playing against Western Conference teams in the finals. He had a 3-6 finals because the Western Conference teams played team basketball, an offensive system, and they were smarter. They were a unit. The Western Conference was more dominant. Now that he's in the West with the Lakers, he's going against teams in the East. And teams in the East are usually younger. They're not established. They're newer. And they don't have that true star player. For example, they played against the Miami Heat. Now, the Miami Heat were a unit, but they were a new team together, one of their first years collaborating. Jimmy Butler's first season, and he's not a superstar, let alone a star. He's just an all-star type player. But based off those finals, you can quote-unquote call him a star player now. I'm cool with that. He deserves it. But out of all of LeBron James's finals victories, I mean, Jimmy Butler was on the very bottom when it came to the best superstars he's played against. So 2021, I expect either the Brooklyn Nets to come out of the East. If it's not them, I expect either the Boston Celtics. I don't think the 76ers are there yet. I don't expect Miami to go back into the finals. And plus, it doesn't make sense when the NBA storyline of timeline of things, throughout the finals. That's not a objective standard, but it's just me seeing things. The Milwaukee Bucks, I don't expect them. I think Giannis is out the door after he's bounced in the conference finals or the second round. And besides that, I'm probably missing a team or two. Who knows? But most likely, I expect, as of right now, I expect the Celtics and the Lakers to be in the finals. They're both tied at 17 championships all time. I expect the Lakers, of course, to win that, to get 18 chips. And that just puts another accomplishment for LeBron James all time. They're trying to make him the GOAT. You got to look at all the accomplishments and opportunities he can do. For example, in 2020, they're talking about Kawhi Leonard. If he were to win the championship, he would be the only player with 3 finals MVPs, 3 championships for 3 different franchises. Of course, I knew they were not going to let the Clippers win and let Kawhi get that achievement because the media had that whole narrative for LeBron James the whole time, and that was pushing him towards the GOAT. So little things like that, you guys got to be, you got to be more open-minded. You got to catch along these little Easter eggs that they kind of throw out. So for 2021, I expect the Lakers to come out of the West. There's no way that Steph Curry is going to take down LeBron James, let alone Kawhi Leonard. No, sir, that's not going to happen. No more. LeBron's now on his winning years. And expect this. Again, I'm going to repeat it. LeBron James is now in the end of his twilight where it's going to be his winning years. No more shaming for him anymore. He's going to take this to another level of winning like we've never seen before, even better than Miami. In the Eastern Conference, I think the Brooklyn Nets will go to the finals one of these 2 seasons. I actually expect more of 2022. That makes more sense for me. It's 2021, I think you got to give 1 year with Kyrie and KD to get things going. He came off an injury, pretty much a year-long injury. We can see that may be different. It could be Brooklyn this season. But I expect the Boston Celtics to get over that hump. They'll make it to the finals. Jason Tatum's 4th season, I believe, 4th or 5th. I think it's the 4th. And, of course, he's going to lose because he's a young cat. Basically, after that, it's going to be the Brooklyn Nets in 2022. And then whatever team Giannis joins in free agency, maybe Miami. Not going to keep jumping the gun. Lakers, kind of breaking things down based on my basis and barriers and how the NBA is. The Lakers are forced by my formula in this equation to win the championship. So, LA 2021.
You're saying?
Higher everything IQ as it pertains to the game. We criticize load management, rightfully so. It's been detrimental to the fans. It's been detrimental to the game. But what I realize, Marcel, is LeBron load manages undercover.
Yes, he does. He does.
How does he do that?
I've seen that.
During the course of the season, LeBron actually shot his furthest distance from the basket in the last decade. He was shooting 12.9 feet from the basket. So everybody was saying highly acclaimed.
Real quickly, not to interrupt him too much, LeBron usually kind of quote-unquote low manages defensively, but ever since he brought in Anthony Davis, they finally had championship aspirations legitimately, and Anthony Davis was on his one-year deal. So he held LeBron James accountable, let alone LeBron had to be accountable. And we've seen LeBron James, he's usually toxic with other teammates. He'll be, buddy-buddy with you for the first couple of weeks or months, but then he'll trade you if you don't perform or, if you get in a spotlight or you mess things up. But with Anthony Davis, this is the most different type player if he's ever played in his career. Now, Dwayne Wade was at the end of his prime, but Anthony Davis is entering his prime, pure dominance as a top 7 player in the league. So LeBron James knowing that Anthony Davis, if they didn't win the championship and it was a failed experiment, he could walk out the door. So LeBron James was on check. It's like, for example, you got this you got this hot girl that's always coming around all these simps, and she's just, tooling with them, simping them around and pushing them off. But then finally, there's this one alpha cat that comes in, and she's got her eye on him. So basically, every time she's with the guy, she can't act like, this busty, what anymore. She has to hold herself accountable and change the way she behaves just for him. Same thing with LeBron James. He has feminine energy. Now, on the court, he's got feminine energy. Off the court, he tries to act like an alpha. He tries to act masculine in his interviews. But then on the court, he'll start to flop, cry to the refs, yada, yada, yada. Whenever Anthony Davis came in, LeBron James had to change his tone of energy, the way he acted. And LeBron James, whenever you put him on check, like he went to Miami with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, we've seen the best in his career of most success. LeBron James usually likes to put himself as a king. He likes to pretty much dictate the ownership, trades, coaching. That can cause anarchy. Now, it's best sometimes in life to where you're not just free-flowing and someone puts you accountable and they tell you what to do. For LeBron James, that's why we've seen the most success for him in Miami and LA. In Cleveland, LeBron could do whatever he wanted. And that usually caused anarchy and toxicity, usually most likely in his second stint coming back. But not to divulge too much into that, basically Anthony Davis was a great part of LeBron James' second half of his career, of course, or end of his career.
Analysts were all saying this, man, LeBron's too old now. He can't get to the hoop like he used to. But then what we saw in the finals was that in the postseason, LeBron actually was his shot distance from the basket decreased. It got closer, that is. Then in the finals, it got even closer. How did LeBron James end up shooting a higher two-point percentage than anyone in history, including Shaquille O'Neal and Hakeem Olajuwon? So the reason I trust LeBron, and I'm betting on the Lakers to do this again, is to repeat, is very simple. 2 reasons. We know he's going to get there. That's what we know.
Oh, we do?
We do. That's what we know. We know he's going to get there.
We or you?
And when he gets there, he gets better.
Okay.
It really depends for me what the Lakers roster looks like in this free agency and potential trades. Again, they can either get that big 3 of CP3, or you add in Bradley Beal, or you pretty much keep kind of the same team basically. Like if you bring in Dwight, Rajon Rondo back, KCP, Alex Caruso, Anthony Davis, and then you have a couple other free agents like Bojan Bojanovic, maybe Jeremy Grant or some of these other vets that can kind of come in. Now, that can kind of switch kind of what I feel and what I'm most comfortable with. But I expect them to get a big deal coming in.
The way you just surmised all that, I would think LeBron is actually beating Jordan in terms of championship titles. He's not. That's where he has a demerit in comparison to the other GOAT in the conversation. But I'm not even going to have that conversation like you. Because you don't like to answer questions. I like to answer the question.
What's the question?
Will they repeat next season? I don't want to hear they're going to be there. Hey, that's good enough. No, that's not good enough. Will they repeat?
If the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron go to the finals, they will win it every single time he's in the finals. His losing days in the finals are over.
Next season, no. Will they get there? Who gives a damn? Who cares about silver?
You can't win unless you're there, sir.
I respect that, but that's...
And if LeBron were to go to the finals and lose, you think the NBA is really going to allow him to lose to Jason Tatum? I mean, they're trying to make LeBron the GOAT. If he's going to lose in the finals, he has to lose to one of the greatest teams of all time, like the Warriors, one of the greatest not dynasties, but one of the greatest. I can't think of the word. Just foundations of a franchise like the Spurs with Popovich, Ginobili, Parker, Tim Duncan, and then I mean the Dallas Mavericks were kind of a monkey in the wrench bar, or whatever. That was kind of a little random one, but I mean it is what it is. But you're not going to lose to Jason Tatum. You're not going to lose to Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. They won't allow him to lose to, again, like Miami. You're not going to lose again to Kevin Durant if it were Brooklyn, him and Kyrie. No, sir. The Bucks with Giannis, who's too young. It's not going to happen. His losing games in the finals are over.
Not this question, sir. So I will answer this question before I go into your logical realm and defeat you there as well. One, this year was an interesting year. Forget all the asterisk conversation that I like to lead about it being a bubble year, and obviously they had the 5-month hiatus, and then they went in there and they played a team in the first round that would never have been in the playoffs in NBA, ABA history with a play-in series, all that stuff. They left, 8 teams at home, blah, blah, blah. You know what's going to happen next year? It's going to be a normal year, hopefully. Maybe they start at a different time, but in terms of the game participation, we expect normalcy. You know what's going to be a part of that normalcy? Steph Curry on the shot, boy. Woo! Is Steph Curry coming back next year with Klay Thompson, Draymond Green? Or are they going to be able to draft, and they drafted with the number 2 overall pick? Oh, my God. Are the Warriors coming back loaded? I'm going to talk about the teams and the players that he avoided. Kevin Durant, is he playing again next year? What? Who is he team with? Kyrie Irving. Damn, does Kyrie Irving know a thing or two about LeBron James? Oh, my goodness. They're together. No, I'm not walking into a trap. First of all, if I walk to a trap, I'm stomping into that trap. You're going to feel me break the concrete. All right. Kawhi Leonard and his 2 finals MVPs tagged with Paul George, and this time they got a chip on their shoulder, or at least some shame on their face for how they went out this year. Those are the individuals and teams out there. We can also go whatever the Heat are going to do. They're going to mix up the pot a little more.
And with the Warriors coming up this way, being stacked, same thing with the Clippers. They got, they're more motivated than ever than potentially the Brooklyn Nets. I expect the Lakers to get that 3rd star because back then they did not have a true 3rd option they can rely on consistently. Kyle Kuzma was not that cat. I expect them to trade him. Rajon Rondo was that guy who stepped up big time, and like the way I expected him. I mean, he's playoff Rondo for a whole reason. But they need like a Bradley Beal, let alone a Chris Paul. They need another scoring option. They need another impact player out there. And I think 2020, when you didn't have the Warriors or the Nets playing in the playoffs, and let alone you had the Nets or you had the Clippers and the Bucks losing in the second round, that just gave a whole easy opportunity for the Lakers to win it all. Now that you're going to have these teams in the playoffs and playing, I expect the Lakers to make a big move.
Mature. They got a lot of young players that are good. The Nuggets. But the point is, that's my point. All I want to do is kill you with 5 different teams, 5 different opportunities. That's my field. LeBron James may make it back there, but the odds of him winning again and beating the field, slim to none.
Marcellus, you can't win the lotto unless you buy a ticket.
Man, that's why a lotto ticket. Ain't nobody winning.
LeBron James is buying tickets, and he's buying 50% of them because he has a 50% chance to win because he will be there, unlike all these other teams that you just put in this hat. But let me go ahead now because I knew this was what you were going to do. I knew this was what
it's not 50-50 when you make it.
You know what's crazy? If LeBron wins 6 championships, out of his whole career, he would have gone to the finals 60% of the time. Wow.
You know there's a team that is tilted to win. That's called the favorite. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I?
Yes, you can.
And you have to be there, Marcellus. If you're there, there's a 50% chance that you're there.
That's a coin flip on the Heat. It was a coin flip the Heat would have won. Stop that, boy. Don't cook books.
Let me do this. I'm not going to cook books. I'm going to cook facts. Okay. Here's what it comes down to. You mentioned Kyrie and KD. Marcellus, what the NBA has shown us is that dynamic duos don't work if LeBron's not a part of the duo. That's what we know.
Yeah.
Kawhi and PG haven't worked. CP3 and Harden didn't work.
Well, Harden and CP3 did work in 2018. CP3 got hurt the last 2 games of Game 6 and Game 7 and did not play. They would have gone to the finals. They most likely would have won the championship. Of course, going against the 2018 LeBron. That's another conversation for another day. CP3 and Harden did work. Now in 2019, Harden completely let go of CP3 in the offense. He let go of Capella in the pick and roll. Harden just held the ball for 20 seconds and always did a step back contested three. Now that was ridiculous basketball, but that was on Harden.
Harden and Russ didn't work.
Yep.
Russ and PG didn't work. If LeBron James is not a part of that dynamic duo, the dynamic duo is not going to work. KD couldn't beat LeBron by himself. That's why KD had to join the best statistical team of all time. Don't talk to me about, oh my God, Kevin Durant.
LeBron James is not worried about Kevin Durant when KD's finally the number one option and leading a team. LeBron had like a 17-4 record against KD whenever he was on the Thunder. When Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, he joined arguably one of the greatest teams of all time, 73-9. Listen, the Warriors, after losing 2016 against the Cavaliers, which I believe that was scripted, there was something in the background. That's another conversation for another day. The Warriors entering the 2017 season before they signed Kevin Durant on July 4th, they were favorites to destroy the Cleveland Cavaliers in the potential next finals. Let me repeat myself. The Warriors were favorites to win the championship in 2017 before Kevin Durant by a long shot. Then that's why whenever they signed Kevin Durant, everyone was PO'd because there's nothing you could do. Now he's on the Brooklyn Nets being the number one option again. We're going to see Kevin Durant play like the Oklahoma City Thunder self of himself, pretty much isolated basketball, kind of putting the stress on him offensively. But you do have Kyrie who can score as well. But we're going to see that type of Kevin Durant. And I don't want to hear too much about his injury, and he's not going to be the same. He's going to be around 85% the same or anything. He's still going to be a superstar and top 5 player in the league.
James ain't worried about Kevin Durant. Now, you can talk about the Warriors team, but are you really worried about a Draymond Green?
LeBron was not worried about Kevin Durant let me repeat myself. LeBron was worried about the Warriors. Now, Kevin Durant was on the team, which added to that, but basically, LeBron was worried about the Warriors foundation and Steph Curry. Kevin Durant added on is just, it's like you got it's like you got a huge sitcom show and you bring in this guest star on the show. It's going to be an automatic banger, as it usually was. Same thing. You had the sitcom, whatever, the same foundation when you had the Warriors, which was already a banger. Everyone was on it. And then you bring in the superstar guest who comes around. That's Kevin Durant. He wasn't a true Warrior. He was just basically that guy who just came in to do what he had to do.
About to be 31 and diminishing statistically the last 3 years.
Anybody with
Are you
him.
worried about? Are you really worried about? Also,
Why you ain't say Steph?
I'm
Why
not
say Clay?
because I'm not going to get into the.
okay.
We can go there, but keep in
we
mind,
can?
has a KD-less Warriors team beat a healthy LeBron team?
KD left.
Has a KD-less Warriors team beat a healthy LeBron?
Carried it forward.
No. The answer is
Okay,
no.
I know what it
The answer is no. A KD-less Warriors team has not beat a healthy LeBron team. LeBron lost in 2015 with Della Vadova because Kyrie got hurt and K-Love was hurt. What happened in 2016? Just the greatest comeback of all time.
Yeah, but in 2016, the Warriors were smacking the Cavaliers like it was nothing the first couple of games, and they went up 3-1. Now, this is not me doing conspiracy theorists, blah, blah, blah. Listen, whenever the Warriors were up 3-1, the script, I'm not telling you this is acting, this is rigged scripted. I don't care what you guys say. I look at interviews, I watch the game. The Warriors flipped the switch, and not in a good way. Steph Curry, it looked like he was acting, and they told him, hey, all right, it's time for LeBron to win now. You got to stop it. You just got to be like the Washington Generals out there. And Steph Curry, his body language was very sluggish. Seemed like he didn't really care as much. And then whenever he got himself ejected in Game 6, that looked like it was just acting. Game 7, he was throwing behind-the-back passes. There were terrible passes out of bounds whenever there was like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, things like that. And the Warriors, they weren't even in that high space with the shooting and everything. They were just kind of bringing up the ball, just kind of relaxing and doing nothing out there. You guys need to watch game 5, 6, and 7 the game of the Golden State Warriors. Now, LeBron and Kyrie balled out, but on the Warriors side, they dropped down 40 to 50% of what they usually did. Just look at the body language. I mean, kudos to LeBron winning that championship either ways. Even if it was kind of scripted or rigged or whatever, that was still a huge accomplishment coming back from 3-1. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay, and then you mentioned the Nuggets. I'm not going to entertain you with these Nuggets conversations. Why? Because LeBron saw them boys and dismantled them when no one else.
You know how embarrassing it was before the 2020 NBA season? ESPN and people had the Lakers like 5th or 6th best team to win the championship. They would put like the Nuggets and they would put the Jazz over the Lakers. I mean, I just can't take it with some of these guys out here. LeBron's not worried about no Utah Jazz or the Denver Nuggets, man. I mean, come on, man. Listen, the NBA is not going to allow any of those teams to beat LeBron James, let alone LeBron's way over heels over these young cats. If LeBron's going to lose it in the playoffs or in the finals, it's got to be an historically great team.
Good. So, my first lap, all I wanted to do was tell you why it's LeBron.
That was a slow lap.
My second lap, I told you why it's not everybody else.
You're still behind. You're still behind me. Look behind. There go Acho on his second lap.
I have then who? If
you ready? You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
First of all, you keep telling me how LeBron and this duo now with AD, no one can beat them. If LeBron's not a part of your duo, then you can't win.
Can't. That's just what
How's
we see.
LeBron's duos been in terms of win percentage in the question of title championships? 40%. 4 of 10. You know that math, right? So that's what?
No.
Is that 4 of 10?
That's not how LeBron's duos have been. LeBron, 4 of 10.
9.
Well, 2015, he had Dellavedova, so won't say that. In 2018, his second guy was quote-unquote Kevin Love, but Kevin Love was just a glorified Ryan Anderson 2.0. He's never been part of a big three in Cleveland.
Remember,
I give you
accurate.
Because 07.
07, he ain't had no duos.
4 of 9.
And yeah, I forgot 2007. Yeah.
Is that 50%? No. So betting on LeBron is not even 50-50 as you were saying before. Has LeBron and AD beat a healthy Heat team? They lost their leading scorer in the playoffs. So LeBron can beat everybody. He hadn't even seen everybody.
The Lakers were destroying the Miami Heat before Adebayo, Goran Dragic, and Jimmy Butler got hurt game 1. The Lakers always had the advantage of their bigs and LeBron James, and that's what happened in that first quarter.
3 great duos, not to his fault. And then he gets there, and that team is losing his top scorer. And then Bam is out for 2 games. Come on, big dog.
No, here's my point, Marcellus.
You didn't make a point.
He didn't avoid 2 great duos.
I'm saying those duos will be back.
They don't get there. The problem is you have to factor in what everybody sleeps on when they talk about LeBron James. You sleep on the non-physical attributes. There's a reason he's gone to 9 out of 10 or 9 out of 9 when he is healthy. Because of the non-physical attributes. KD, physically, sure, he may be more gifted as far as the shot. He may be more gifted in the clutch. Kyrie with the ball in his hands, he may be a more skilled ball handler than LeBron James. But what you're not factoring in, Marcellus, is the mental aspect of it all. You're not factoring in the fact that LeBron said this: I'm getting older. Because I'm getting older, I got to change the way I play. So during the season, I'm not going to drive to the bucket as much. Physically, I can't take as much of a beating.
And definitely whenever the bubble came, after 5 months of rest from COVID, when they were in the bubble, LeBron James was it was kind of hard for him to adjust. He would score like 15 points a game. He would just let Anthony Davis kind of do everything offensively. LeBron would not drive to the basket. And he was kind of scared to shoot from the outside. It was a weird feel for him. But, of course, he cranked it up later and deeper in the playoffs and in the finals. But LeBron James moving to that point guard position full-time, he's definitely been adapting and adjusting for the long run.
So I'm going to chill. But you know what I'm going to do?
What?
When it comes to the finals, I'm only going to be more accurate than anybody in the history of the NBA in the finals from 2, including guys that were 7'1", 315 pounds, including guys, Hakeem, the Dream, a Nigerian, so I cannot, you know me, I cannot talk down upon
really? You ain't going to do your job
I can't. Look, okay. But LeBron was better.
What?
So all I'm saying is, keep in mind, he's the most calculated basketball player of all time. I'm not betting against that.
He's the most calculated. He ain't the most accomplished, and he's certainly not the most winningest when it comes.
Marcellus Wiley has been saying LeBron's the GOAT, and then now it seems like he's stating he's not. Oh, boy.
When it matters,
Give me a team. If it's not the Lakers, then who?
I'm giving you, that's my point. My point is you pick a team, and it may be a war of attrition, but the point is I'm betting the field, and I don't have to pick one from the field. That's on you. The onus is on Acho to hang with the Lakers.
Well, no, if you're going to pick from the field, you got to tell me a specific team. Like, for example, if someone were to say the Warriors in the West, okay. In the East, the Brooklyn Nets, okay. But based on me, LeBron's not going to lose to either of those teams or players anymore in his career.
The onus is on me to hang with 29 other teams. And let me finish this. Because since the NBA went to 4 7-game series, because I was looking like, what's up with this championship Lakers team? Offensively, we saw them. They were amazing. But there's also a defensive component to it. And it's interesting if you look at their...
We have not seen a Game 7 in the finals since 2016. Usually we see those pretty much every 4 to 5 seasons. I expect 2021. I expect in the 2021 NBA Finals to go 7 games if it's against the Celtics or the Nets against the Lakers.
Their postseason run and what they were able to do, they won it all. Congratulations. You beat a Heat team that didn't even have the A and the T.
Which you would have beat anyway.
It was H and the E, not the A and the T. They beat Heat. They ain't beat the Heat.
They at least beat Heat up.
They beat Heat.
They at least beat Heat up.
They ain't beat them all. Here we go. You know that the Lakers allowed the most points per game of any NBA champion since they went to this format? Whoa. You know that they allowed the highest opponent's field goal percentage since they went to this format? Whoa. Do you know that they allowed the highest opponent three-point percentage? Now, all I want you to do is not be an analyst right now on television.
Marcellus.
Be Acho, my friend, in the dressing room. Please address this. If those names are coming back, Steph, Clay, Durant, Irving, Kawhi, PG. And that's what the Lakers were able to do in avoiding those guys, giving up the worst percentages in NBA championship history in the last 18 years. You think that those numbers get better or worse, hurt their chances, or help their chances?
See, this is why I'm so grateful my parents sent me to a high-quality educational school from grades 5 through 12, and then obviously I got 2 degrees after.
You didn't pay attention?
If I wasn't more mentally astute, you would lie to me and I would buy it. Everything
These are
Marcellus
facts.
said, it sounded smart, but since the NBA changed their format, you want to know the only 2 teams that have been more efficient in the playoffs? The 17 Warriors and the 07 Spurs. Those are the only teams, actually, that have won in the playoffs at a higher rate than the Lakers. So the Lakers dominated who they played. Gentlemen sweep. Gentlemen sweep. Gentlemen sweep. 1 and 6. It's not like the Lakers played around. So what I'm saying is, you just sat here and made it sound like the Lakers had a hard time with their opponents.
I said that defensively, they struggled compared to other champions with an avoidance of top offensive talent.
Is it just defense on back?
In this league, teams are going to score 110 points or above. That's just the way it is. And for LeBron James and the crew with Anthony Davis, they have the size. Again, they won these series in 5 to 6 games. All of them should have been 5 games. It is what it is. Listen, if they go against the Warriors or the Clippers in the playoffs, I expect the team to be retooled and readjusted. I expect another third big name to be on the Lakers. If not, they're just going to have a bunch of other role players and shooters out there. And the Lakers are still going to be in a great position to win those games. Now, if they have the big 3, if they get CP3 or Bradley Beal, it's a wrap. The Lakers are going back to the finals and winning the championship. Again, the Warriors are a team. You have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Dre. They have the same core foundation of success. But the thing is, again, I'm going to say again, LeBron James finally has a second option who's 7 feet and versatile and who can score and give you 30. That's going to be a problem for the Golden State Warriors who don't have a true big. Now, the Warriors can never stop LeBron James. Now, if you add Anthony Davis, you're not going to stop that. Now, that gives more of an opportunity for the Lakers to go at Steph Curry on defense.
Basketball, or do you have to play both phases?
Let me help you out.
Please, because you're not helping you out.
You didn't go to a top school, it sounded like kindergarten through 4th grade. And then all of a sudden you think you know something because in the 5th grade you finally go to a school with other people that's smart.
All right, these cats being kind of petty. I'm going to end it off here.